Hope you're having a fine day. Today we're going to be making scones live with breadstone ovens. I'm Zachary.
And I'm Antoine.
We just put a fresh batch of scones in the oven, and now we're going to show you how to make them.
Alright, so do you have your recipe, Zachary?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so what kind of scones are they?
They're chocolate chip scones.
Okay, so what do you need to make chocolate chip scones?
First, you're going to beat your 3/4 cups of buttermilk and 1 egg.
Okay, alright, you have your egg, you have your buttermilk.
Yes.
Okay, here is your mixing bowl. So what goes into that recipe? What are all the ingredients, Zachary?
All of the ingredients of making scones is 3/4 cup of buttermilk, or you can put 3 cups of plain yogurt, and then you put 1 egg, and then you put 2 3/4 cups of flour, and then you put 4 tablespoons of baking powder and half a tablespoon of baking soda. Wait, no, not half. Oh yeah, half, yeah. And then you put half a tablespoon of salt, half a tablespoon of butter. I meant half a cup of butter, 1 cup of fresh chocolate, 1/2 cup of sugar, half a cup of sugar, and then you will put 1 tablespoon of butter melted for your pan, and then you will put at the end 1/4 cup of sugar icing sugar.
Great, thank you, Zachary. So today we are inside. It was way too windy to be on the patio again, so since everybody is at home, there is no employees here, so we said, hey, let's go to the showroom. We can cook inside. We'll fire one of the oven. I woke up feeling like scones this morning, and I said that would be a great recipe for today. And Zach said, great, I want to help you. So here we are making scones. So you just beat the buttermilk with the egg. I think that's good. You can probably set it aside, okay? And then you take a big mixing bowl, and what do you put in here?
So first, after you beat the eggs, you will measure in a large bowl your flour.
Okay, what else?
And then you will put your baking powder.
All your dry ingredients, right? Baking powder.
And then your baking soda.
Okay.
And then you will finally put your salt.
Okay. It's stuck in there. What about your sugar? Do you put it there or later?
You will put your sugar. After you do that, you will put your sugar later.
Okay.
And then you will cut your butter until mixture resembles small peas.
Okay. So you mix everything with your whisk. Make sure all your dry ingredients are nicely mixed.
And then after you cut your butter, you will mix in the chocolate, the sugar, and then that will be.
Okay, so your butter.
No.
Yeah, you said you cut in your butter, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Cut in your butter.
You put it in there, and then you're going to have to mix it with your hands. Are you going to get your hands dirty?
Probably.
Okay, you ready for that?
Probably.
Okay. That's good. So go ahead, start mixing, and then I will add the ingredients for you.
Yes.
Okay. So today, as Zach is mixing, I'm going to talk about the starter a little bit. So the starter, we started to feed, today is Thursday, so we started to feed Wednesday. Oh, the timer went off. The starter we started to feed about 2 days ago. This morning when I woke up, I checked it, and it was actually starting to make some small bubbles. So we're in day 3, and the starter is already starting to do well. So I actually fed it some more this morning, and you will see it's a nice starter. So we have put a batch of scones just so we can show you guys how it looks.
the butter, and it's starting to look like the small little peas.
Great. And so what do you put next?
So then you put your chocolate and sugar.
Okay, so I'm going to put it in for you. Chocolate. Okay.
And then sugar.
And your sugar. So you mix it nicely. Okay,
Yeah.
so these are the scones that we put in earlier. They are nice and brown. They are not quite cooked. I think they've been in for about 10 minutes. You really want to cook 15 to 20 minutes, but I want to make sure we don't burn them. So I'm going to put them back in the oven.
Okay, now I've mixed well the chocolate and sugar in with the other dry ingredients. And then after you do that, you would want to add your mixture of your buttermilk and your egg.
All right,
And
here's
then-
the mixture.
And then you start mixing by hand again. Until it feels like dough. It's like the soft dough. It'll start feeling like a soft dough when you finish mixing in all your flour and your buttermilk and egg.
Okay, so what you want to be careful is to not over mix or over knead that dough, because if not, it tends to get tough. You want to mix it, and as soon as it starts to look like it's nicely coming together, you can just stop. And so for that recipe, I took it out from our blog. So if you go to breadstoneovens.com and you scroll down, there is the wood-fired blog. If you look on page 4, I think we had a recipe for blueberry scones. Again, I didn't want to go to the store. We decided we'll work with what we have on hand. We had chocolates, and I'm like, that's perfect. So we are using chocolate instead of blueberries. And I didn't have the orange to make the orange rind, so we decided to work without it. So again, breadstoneovens.com, and you look at our cooking blog, or you can search. Actually, there's a search bar. You can search scones. There's a couple of recipes for scones, and you will find all the ingredients that you need to make it. If for any reason you don't have butter, you can actually use oil. For every cup of oil, you can use every cup of butter, you can use 3/4 of a cup of oil, and that will do the trick. So again, no need to run to the store. I know we're all in confinement. We're trying to go to the store as least as you can, or as we can. So it's best to work with what we have and make the most of it. So today, we just work with sugar, butter, or oil if you have any. 1 egg, it doesn't take much. Baking soda, baking powder, salt, all of that everybody has at home. Hopefully you have chocolate too, but if not, if you have a little bit of vanilla extract, you can make vanilla scones very easily. So, Zach, how does it look?
It's starting to feel soft and doughy, so then it'll start to, it's perfect.
Okay, perfect. So, don't clean your hands just yet. Here I have a scone pan. I love those, and I had one, so that's perfect. If you don't have one, you can just use a cookie tray or any type of sheet pan or cast iron pan, and you can put that in your hot oven. So I'm going to brush a little bit of oil in the pan to make sure it doesn't stick. If not, you can use melted butter. What else? The oven needs to be at about 375, and it does extremely well if you have pizza stone or any type of stone inside the oven. It will help retaining more heat. If not, just a regular oven is just fine. Here, of course, we have the wood-fired oven, so we are pretty privileged. And so it's a great way to use the heat that remains in the oven. So when you cook in a wood-fired oven, this type of pastries, because there is sugar, there is oil, it will burn quickly, so no fire. It's all residual heat. Here in the oven, we had to heat it up just for today because the oven otherwise was cold, but we just have a few embers. So I just put a little bit of oil, and Zach is going to start stuffing it. So when you stuff it, don't go too crazy, just enough so you fill each individual spot, but you don't want it to be too tall. If not, it's going to start, when it rises, it will way overflow. So go ahead, put a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Okay, so next, so you can take kind of a bowl and slap it in there.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So while you do that, I'm going to go check on our scones. Now again, I want to make sure they are not burning, and that goes quick. So actually, actually those are now looking pretty good. They're a lot more firm and they're holding their shape nicely. So I will say now they are cooked. We'll take them out, set them aside. While Zach is finishing that. So it will take him a couple of minutes to keep filling that pan. So I'm going to show you again how to feed the starter, because that's what we started Tuesday. That's going to be kind of what we keep following. It's the experiment that we're doing with the kids as well. So here I have the same flour that what I started with on Tuesday, and here I have some filtered water. So again, whole wheat flour, unbleached, unprocessed, and some filtered water. That's all you need to start a starter. So that's pretty amazing. So I'm going to bring it closer. If you can see in here, there are a few bubbles in there. I'm going to take my spoon, and as you can see, it went from something really dense to something pretty much liquid. So that's how you get how your starter becomes when it starts getting active. So I'm going to do the same thing as I've been doing before. I just keep about a third of it, and I don't have a scale at this very second, but I have been doing it for long enough that I actually don't need one. So I keep about a third of what I had. I put about the same amount of water, and I mix it, dilute it, so all my starter is nice and loose. And then I'm going to take the flour. Do I have a small container? I don't have a spoon, of course. So here I just put my same thing, whole wheat flour, and about the same as what I had earlier. So I start mixing it, and I want it to be about the same. Now it's going to be a little bit more liquid because the starter that we initially had in there was already liquid. So you have a higher portion or proportion of liquid, so it's going to have a slightly thicker texture. Just take a little more. And if I had a scale, I will know in a heartbeat where I'm at. But again, if you keep about 2 ounces or about 60 grams of starter, that's plenty to maintain and to feed every day. So here, if I had 2 ounces of starter, I would have had 2 ounces of water and 2 ounces of the flour. So you see now it's a lot thicker. It's holding to the spoon a lot better. So that's how you feed or refresh your starter. And with that, you are good to go.
And I finished filling the pan, and we have a bit more
You have some left?
dough of
Okay.
scones.
Perfect. So can we put that in the oven?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we're going to set a timer for about 15 minutes.
Okay. 15 minutes. Okay. And that's good. Okay. And oh, I didn't set it? Okay. Alright, that's good.
0.
So you have a little.
You still have
Okay, we'll set it after a while. We'll finish the video. I'm going to get another tray for Zach, because if not, he will eat all of that by himself. And so we'll put that on a tray, put it in the oven. And so we'll continue the videos. We'll see you tomorrow. So everybody stay safe. Again, thank you for all the people that follow us, all the questions that we got. Appreciate all the encouragement. And now I have a helper, so it's even more fun. But we'll see you tomorrow, and everybody have a great day.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you. Wow.